Plug this in and we are good to go. Absolutely. Everybody's excited. And we get a notification. Are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in for a special edition this Sunday evening on Off the Record with a great helper in the cause of rebuilding the nation, student sister captain emeritus, um, Sister Charlene Muhammad, who helped, shoulders we are standing on. I thank you very much, Sister Captain, for taking time out of your schedule to have a conversation with us.
Josh, you are very, very welcome. It is my honor and it is my pleasure, especially for you, son.
Okay.
You know, as I look at you, I can remember when you were just a little boy at Muhammad University and spending many, many nights and days at your house. When I look at you from the side profile, I'm just amazed at how much like your mother you look. And you laugh like her. So, I mean, you have her smile,
Praise
but
be
I'm
to
very honored.
Thank you. Before we get started, I also want to say that you were one of the first people who got me into my addiction of video games from coming into your office when you were
Oh
playing
my God.
the rat game on the on the. I used to always say, "Can I come to your office and play the game on your computer?" Um, well, the first question I want to know is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
I first heard the teachings, Josh, in June of 1986.
Mm.
The minister was out of the country, and he was coming back. I had never heard him speak. I had barely heard of him, maybe like a couple years before when he was on the Phil Donahue show.
Yes, ma'am.
But I was on the bus and I saw one of the posters, and I was intrigued, you know, because of what I had seen on the Phil Donahue. I wanted to know more.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I saw him, I had never been in a crowd like that. It was at the back then it was called the Pitt Congress Hotel.
Mm.
It was packed. It was packed, jammed to the rafters, and he was just on fire. Um, I believe at that time they were looking for him to arrest him. I believe because he was coming back into the country. I don't think they wanted him to come back, but he got in. You know, Allah blessed him to get in and speak to us that night. And once I heard him, I told my mother. I said, "Well, this is what I want to do," and I guess the rest is history from there.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, now I have a question. Okay, welcome, salam, Sister Maria. My question is, 1986, you see Donahue, you see the climate that's going on, and the president or the United States government wants to arrest the minister. They don't want him to speak. What about that would make you say, I want to join on to something? You were nervous about trying to join on to something?
No, I wasn't even thinking about that. The U.S. government was the furthest thing from my mind. Um, I really didn't care. I saw a fearless black man. I saw a black man who knew God. He didn't just believe in God, he knew God.
Yes, ma'am.
And he said something, I can remember it to this day. And he said, you know, he was talking to the government, and I'm about to cuss.
Yes, ma'am.
And he said, "Bring it on, God damn it, bring it on."
Mm,
I
mm,
was like,
mm.
wow, what kind of man is this that will speak, a black man that will speak to the government like this?
Yes, ma'am.
So I had no fear, didn't have, I didn't even think about it. It wasn't something that I even thought about,
Mm.
you know, whether or not they were coming after him. That was the least of what I was concerned about.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Now, once you accept the teachings, who was at the mosque when you went? Like, who was the officers, the captain? Can you put us in that
And
time frame of what it was like when you walked in?
well, I came back the what let me if my memory serves me correct, I came back that July 5th, and
Mm,
that was happened to be 4th of July. That was just happened to 4th, July 4th.
mm,
And it was closed, you
mm.
know, and I didn't know anything about. I knew we had the Independence Day of the Devil, but I knew that um, I didn't know it was our holiday as well. So I came back the following Sunday, maybe a week later, and it was packed. The minister was there. Um, I accepted right then and there,
Mm,
and got in the orientation class. I think it was sometime in July, and I recited to Sister Aisha,
mm,
Aisha Muhammad, National MGT Captain Emeritus. I recited to her because she was my orientation instructor,
mm.
and the rest, I just we hit the ground, working.
Okay, excellent. Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Walaikum salam. Sister Branda sends you the greetings. Sister Tammy sends the
Sister
greetings as
who?
well. Sister Branda from Chicago and
Oh,
Sister
return
Tammy.
the greetings to my beloved Sister Bronda, whom I love very dearly.
Yes, ma'am. And okay, the next thing, once you come in, you recite to Sister Aisha, who was a national captain at the time.
No, no,
Then
no. She was the orientation instructor.
she was the orientation instruction
Right.
instructress. Okay, yes, ma'am. What was it like when you met the Most Honorable Farrakhan for the first time?
Um. Oh, that's very interesting. I let me backtrack, Josh,
Yes, ma'am.
because I brought with me some friends of mine. Uh, One of my friends that I worked with at the mayor's office. Her name was Maria, and I lived north at the time, and she came with me with her two small children. So um, we took the bus, came to the final call, only to get turned away.
Mm,
That
mm,
was because she was Mexican. They told us we couldn't come in. She couldn't come in.
mm,
She
mm.
was not angry. We were not angry. We said, okay, we'll try to get next Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
And back the following Sunday, um, got turned away again.
Mm, mm,
So I happened to see the minister. I just remember asking him, I don't know if it was at the final call. I didn't have the proper manners at the time. I just went up to him and I said, brother minister, I'm trying to get into the mosque, into the final call with my friend. She's Mexican and her two children, and we keep getting turned away.
mm,
Um, and he was visibly upset, and
mm,
he
mm,
basically said, "Well, you go back and you tell them that I said to let you in." So we went back for the third time,
mm, mm.
and on the bus, mind you, it took an hour and a half both ways,
Yes, ma'am.
and this time we were able to get in. And that's how I met the minister. I just happened to see him. Might have been in the final call because we were very small
Yes, ma'am.
in those days, and I might have seen him coming down the back stairs. But I caught him. I caught
Yes,
him
ma'am.
wherever he was, and
Yes, ma'am.
I just asked him. You know,
Okay, wonderful. Now, Walaikum salam, Sister April. How did you get from catching the bus to see the minister, getting your friend in, to becoming a national MGT captain? What was the process like?
well, you better ask Allah. um, you know, I have that's a good question. I came in just working. I came in at the time when the minister was rebuilding. Um, we just worked. I mean, we didn't have internet back then. We had radio broadcast, so
Mm,
everything had to be done on the radio broadcast. So there was
mm,
some typing that needed to be done. So I
mm,
did the
mm,
typing.
mm,
Whatever
mm,
needed to be done, that's what I need. That's what I did. I didn't shy away from the work. Um, Now, on the way to becoming the national captain, that's a process. That wasn't something that I set out to do. That wasn't something that I didn't even know what a national captain was.
mm.
Betsy Jean became the first national captain, Sister Betsy Jean.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we were all, I would say, the minister, when he made the decision to make Sister Betsy Jean the national captain, he selected 20 sisters,
Mm,
and we
mm.
were all invited to the national house,
Yes, ma'am.
and we were selected to train under her. Now
Mm,
we weren't lieutenants; we were lieutenants in training. So out of 20, there were four, and then after down to four, then down to me, and
mm,
it was just
mm.
she and I, and uh, we I helped her to the best of my ability. And one day the minister called me in, and at that time, I think I was the unofficial assistant national captain, and he called
Mm,
me to his office, no, to the national house, and he asked me what was my title, and I told him at that time I was the local captain,
mm,
unofficial assistant national captain. He said, "Well, I'm going to make it official. I'm going
mm,
to make
mm,
it you are the national MGT captain." So I went back. He said, "Now you to go to the laborers meeting, and if they have any questions, you let them know what happened." So that's how I made it. But that's a really short version,
yes,
Josh.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's a really really short version. So um, all I know is that we just worked. We worked to get the mosque back. We had these little cans that had the minister's picture on it, and we went to the Taste of Chicago, and we would ask white people, black people, brown people, any people, would you give to the re-education of the black man and black woman of North America? We had the cans with the minister's picture on it, and nobody was mean. Matter of fact, we got a lot of 20s in those cans, a lot of 50s, and some
Mm,
hundreds.
mm, mm,
Because
mm.
to be honest, to be honest, and it's a well kept secret, white people really want to see us become self sufficient. They are tired of us depending on them
Yes, ma'am.
doing what we could do for ourselves.
Absolutely.
So they pulled out the money. When you say the re-education of the black man, oh, okay, yes, I'll give you $20. Okay, no problem,
Yes,
no
ma'am.
problem. So we would fill our cans up and then go back. Um, we just worked. That's all I can tell you is just work.
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am. I want to say alaikum salam. My sister Naima says something alaikum. Sister
Oh, Naima,
yes, ma'am.
come on, give her the greetings.
And well, Sister Latasha, alaikum salam, everyone. Thank you. Now, Sister Captain, now could you? I want to go back where you said you come into the National House. At that time, you're going to the National House. This is where the most still Farrakhan stays. People who may not understand what that means. You go to the National House. Was there a lot of security back then, or could you just pick up the phone and just walk in, or would you have to, like, how was it like in the 80s? How was that?
Well, you had security, but it wasn't to the degree that it is now. Of course,
Mm,
everybody got searched. You're not going to get in the National House without getting searched.
mm,
Um, we got searched, we got checked. The sisters checked the sisters, and we sat at the table.
mm.
Um, I can tell a very interesting story.
Please.
Um, One time, the minister spoke in Baton Rouge, and myself, Sister Betsy Jean, went down there to secure him along with the MGT in Baton Rouge. It was at I want to say, I can't remember the college, but it was a college.
Mm,
And we got on a plane. We didn't have the minister. It was just myself, Betsy Jean, Brother Mustafa, and the minister. Just the four of us,
mm, mm, mm.
and no security, that no e team or anything like that. Now, when
Yes,
we
ma'am.
when we were when we were in the plane, went to Atlanta, and we got off the plane and we went to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Chicago. Now that's where the security came in. That's
Mm,
where many brothers, I'd say, hundreds of brothers came out, to meet the minister, to be part of that security detail. But it was definitely not the type of security that it was as we know it today.
okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, not
Okay.
not like that at all.
Okay. Wonderful. Yes, ma'am. Now, when you were doing security, traveling with the ministers, just you four, and doing that whole the 80s, did you ever fear for your life? Did you ever receive death threats? Were you ever nervous at any time?
No, never was nervous. Um, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah. Did we receive death threats? Absolutely.
Mm,
Every venue that we went to, and your father can bear witness to this, we had bomb threats.
mm, mm,
We would be in the building, and then we would have to leave the building because they would have to sweep the arena
mm,
for bombs.
mm, mm.
So every place that we went, if I was a fearful Negro, then yes, I probably would have been afraid, but that was just that was just what we did. You know, we didn't have any fear. If you wanted to come up on us, we came up on you. We're not the aggressor,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
you're not going to come up on us thinking that you're going to get to the minister without us showing you something. That would not be a wise thing to do. You
Right.
know, so no, to answer your question, no, I never had fear. Um, it's just, you know, if it was my time to die, it was just my time to die. At least I'm dying, you
No.
know, protecting the man that I love, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
So
What
didn't have any fear.
wonderful. Yes, ma'am. We often hear uh, about the Most High Minister Farrakhan in public. Is he the same way in private? Was he yelling at you all? Was he nice to you? How was he as you were his captain? How was he?
Well, I have to go back before I was his captain.
Mm,
Um, I've been knowing the minister since '86. Um, I often saw him at the final call when we were still at the final call. Um, I can remember. I think I posted this on Facebook the other day. We had the payphones in the back, and I was talking in Spanish on the payphone. I might have been to Hector or somebody, but he heard me and he stopped, and I didn't realize he was there. And I got off the phone, and he asked me. He said, "Sister, you speak Spanish?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Would you teach the nation Spanish?" I said,
mm.
"Yes, sir." Now, I was very young, you know, in terms of young in the nation, probably 2 days old,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know, not even a year.
Mm, mm.
And I didn't know really uh, what he was asking me. I didn't really even understand who he was at the time.
Mm.
I just knew that I wanted, you know, to be a part of what he was building. And but the question that you asked is a very good question. What I love about the minister, one of the things, I mean, he has so many things that you love about him.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you, and you know this to be a fact, Josh,
Yes, ma'am.
he has the ability uh, to make you feel like he's known you forever.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Um, he likes to laugh. He likes to have fun. You know that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And, you know, but there's also a time that he's serious. And you have to be able to look in his eyes
Yes,
and
ma'am.
see, okay, well, no, now is not the time to laugh. You know, this is another time. This is a military time.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would look in his eyes, or I'd look at his posture, and I'd know, okay, this is not the time to do that. But I think from the time that, I mean, I knew him personally long before I became the National MGT captain. Holiday used to come over to my house, Sister
Yes, ma'am.
Holiday.
Yes, ma'am.
And she would spend the night, and you know we would go up north, and she met a lot of my friends. So I was very close, you know, to members of his family um, long before the National NGT captain post came.
Mm, mm.
You know,
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am. I want to just take a brief commercial, let you all know this podcast was brought to you by Supreme Spring Water. Get yours while you can. My sister Miriam's book, children's book, ABC I Love Me, is on Amazon. She has a coloring book as well. Get it on Amazon. My brother Rashad has a video production company with brother Jamal, Street Premiere. They do video editing and all kind of stuff. They're working on some new projects. And my second book, which is a children's book, Cleopatra, please get this on Amazon. If you all have a business that you would like me to sponsor or promote, let me know. J Imagination on Cash App or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let me know. Back to you, Sister Captain. I just want to give you the greetings from Brother Kelvin, my sister Mimi's, the Tammy, Brother Hakeem, Shakir Muhammad from Chicago. And absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Okay, what I wanted to know is you said this is before you knew who the minister was. When did you find out or realize who exactly Most High Minister Louis Farrakhan was from just not just being a regular man who was organizing? When did you find out who he really was?
well, I want to go back to the to before I knew who he was. You
Yes,
have
ma'am.
to know who the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was teaching orientation. I taught orientation class for maybe 3 or 4 years. And if you've been in the teachings for any length of time and you're teaching women, it dawned on me that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of God, because he labored over 40 years
Yes,
doing
ma'am.
what he did to resurrect a dead people.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I realized how difficult the work is, the actual work, the actual day-to-day grind, in and out, in and out, in and out, dealing with our people, that's when you know that they are beyond just the person that you see. There's a power behind them, and you come to recognize that power that is behind them, because nobody really can do that for that length of time unless you have a law behind you. That's 40 plus years dealing
Yes,
with our
ma'am.
people.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's not easy. You know that, Josh.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's dealing with us for 50 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So that's when I knew, I think, in orientation, and that just transferred. Oh, uh, the Million Man March. That's when I
Mm,
knew
mm.
that who he was. When I saw him come down those steps with your father, and that the rest is history, I said, oh, okay, now I understand. And
Mm,
I was on that wobbly, shaking stage
mm.
that that when that realization came to me.
Yes, praise be to
That
Allah.
makes
Now, so you're on the stage. I know it's wobbly and shaky. It's the people are coming down. You see a seed. They say over 2 million black men, or men, period, black men especially. You see the Most High Missiles Farrakhan come down, and you're looking. Did you cry? Did you get tight? Or you just like, I know who you are? How was it?
I was overwhelmed. I was
Mm,
emotional. I had tears in my eyes,
mm,
because I knew where we had started. I knew where we had started with him on this. And I knew then when I saw him come down those stairs, I said, wow. And my mind took me back to the day when we started at the National House and he called us
mm,
so that we could come together to prepare to um, plan for this march.
mm.
So it was just a lot of work. It was a
Yes.
lot of work.
What was the role of the sisters um, during the Mimian March?
Well, the sisters, okay, now my question would be back to you.
Yes, ma'am.
You mean on that day?
Oh no, leading up to
You
it.
mean
Leading up to it.
leading up to that day?
Yes, ma'am.
You mean leading up to that day?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Well, the sisters played a very, very big role.
Okay.
We went to the LOC meetings, the local organizing committee meetings,
Yes, ma'am.
and we brought our children, our families, and we organized that. We would, I know in Chicago, what we did, we would go out with the brothers. We would go down 79th Street with the brothers, with our
Mm,
families. We would pass out flyers. We would go to beauty salons. We did voter registration. The sisters would go in front of, ask permission. Of course, we would always get permission before we set up,
yes,
but
ma'am.
we would get permission to go in front of the Jewel on 87th Street and do voter registration.
Mm, mm, mm.
Um, we would prepare meals, for the brothers when they went out. Um, but we got on the phone. We didn't have internet. We didn't have, all we had was a regular phone. I don't even know if we had a mobile phone. Yeah,
Mm,
we had
mm,
pagers.
mm, mm.
And we did what we did without any technology. We did it face to face. We went door to door. The sisters went with the brothers. This was one of the only times that the minister would allow us to go with the brothers. Um, I wouldn't say door to door, but up and down the main streets,
Yes,
where
ma'am.
we would
Yes,
be
ma'am.
visible. So that's what we did. We encouraged our men to come out to the mosque. If you were a mother, if you were a sister, if you were an auntie, if you were a cousin, you had the responsibility to encourage your father, your brother, your uncle, your friend, your husband to go to that march. And every week the momentum would build. Every week you would know, that the women were getting the word out as well as the men. So yes, we did have a big role.
Praise
Big
be to
role.
Allah. And thank you all for continuing watching. Um, Brother Paul Muhammad says, thank you for sharing this information and thank you all for continuing to watch. Yes, ma'am. Now, my next question is, what was the greatest trial that you had as assistant captain, and how did you overcome that trial?
Okay. The greatest trial that I had was right there in Atlanta
Hmm.
for the women's meeting. I forgot where it was held, but we didn't have very much time to do it. As a matter of fact, the minister had met a young lady and she asked him if he would come down, to do a women's speak to women.
Yes, ma'am.
And he accepted. And then he called me in and he said, I think we had about a week, if
Hmm.
that, maybe 10 days.
Hmm.
And and I think Sister Bronda, if she's on, she might remember this. Some of the other older lieutenants might remember this. But I sent Minister Abdullah, you remember Minister Abdullah,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
and Student Minister Ava Muhammad to inspire the believers
Yes, ma'am.
down in Atlanta. Um, they came back with the report to me that the believers weren't that inspired.
Oh,
It
dang.
was a little difficult. So um, they came back and gave me that report, and I
Hmm.
gave that report to the minister. Now, the minister, if you don't know anything about him, I don't want to say he's a master at this, but he is a master.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And if you've ever, he was at his desk in his office, and he said to me very quietly, the body takes its direction from the head.
Hmm. Hmm.
It is the head that moves the body. So maybe I have the wrong head
Hmm.
because that head cannot inspire the body. Maybe I need to think about getting another head. Well,
Hmm.
he's talking to me.
Hmm.
And maybe I need to think about getting somebody else. And I was like, no, sir. No,
Hmm.
sir. And I was in a trance from that point on because I did not want to disappoint him.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I went home, packed a few things, flew to Atlanta, hit the ground running. We worked because it was not me, it was the believers in Atlanta, the brothers and the sisters.
Hmm.
They met me at the airport. We went to every mall in Atlanta,
Hmm.
every downtown place you could go to, and we passed out flyers.
Okay.
Okay. And I think I got in on a Wednesday. The minister was, or Tuesday maybe. The minister was due to come in on a Saturday.
Hmm.
And we worked from can't see to can't see. 9 o'clock in the morning. We started 9 o'clock, probably in at about 9:30 at night. We did this for 4 straight days. We
Hmm.
probably passed out thousands of flyers. I
Yes,
mean,
ma'am.
thousands. Now the sisters, we got in our finest clothes, the ones that had the most glitter in them, the shiniest clothes, because we wanted to attract.
Yes, ma'am.
And we went to all these malls, and the sisters, to be honest, because it's very hot down there in Atlanta,
Hmm.
they were intrigued by us because a lot of sisters, they don't wear a lot of clothes because it's hot.
Yes,
So they were
ma'am.
like, wow, you all have these clothes and you still look beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
So they were very respectful.
Hmm.
They were happy to see us.
Hmm.
And we did the best that we could in 4 days. We might have passed out about 20 or 30,000 flyers, maybe more,
Hmm. Hmm.
because we didn't have tickets. This was not an event that had tickets.
It was
This was
free.
an event that we just passed out the flyers, and we
Hmm.
prayed to Master Farah Muhammad that it would be a success. But the minister called me in Saturday when he flew in and he got in. He asked me what did I think. I told him, I said, brother minister, I think we did the best that we could, but
Hmm.
I can't really say until tomorrow. I can't. I just can't. And so he looked, and he had dinner with him, myself and a few others. I can't remember, but the following day, for that women's meeting, 1994, I think it was June 25th, 1994.
Mm.
Um, there were so many women to come out. The
Mm.
place held 9,000.
Mm.
We turned away 3,000.
Lord. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Allahu Akbar. We turned away 3,000. Now, your mother will remember this quite well. She will remember this. All of my lieutenants remember this. This was an event that was totally on the sisters.
Mm.
The brothers, I was, nothing. There were no brothers. There might have been some brothers. I don't even know if there were brothers on the camera. I don't think so.
Mm.
But it was so overwhelming in the security area. That's where I was. And somebody gave me a message. The minister wants to see you. And he wanted to, he was so, I don't know if you know anything about the minister, but when he gives a lecture, and it may be his first time doing this particular lecture, he's like he has laser focus. So he got there, and he was kind of upset. I don't want to say how upset, but he was upset because he wasn't on the stage. So I had to let Mother Tynetta know, Sister Ava, somebody, to let them know that he wanted to come on. But in that period of time, I got a real licking by the minister. A real licking. You know what that means, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You know what that means.
Yes, ma'am.
I was so stunned that I hadn't been able to watch that lecture until about a month ago, a month and a half ago, because I was like, wow, okay, he was really nervous, to come on. He wanted to speak in front of the women. He did not want to wait. He did not want to wait for Mother Tynetta to come off. He wanted to get up there and give his lecture. And I was like, okay, that was a trial for me.
Yes,
because I had known him. I had watched other people get that type of a lashing. But that was my first time getting that type of a lashing. So it was kind of a shock.
Yes,
but it was okay. I just took it. You know how you take something? Yes, you know how your father is, right? You take it.
Yes, ma'am.
And you keep going.
Yes, ma'am.
So I saw him I didn't even see him that night. That's how I don't want to use traumatized, but I was a little traumatized. And I saw him the following Sunday, and I was all the way back in the back of the mosque. He saw me, and he said, see, after it was over, see what we did. He was so excited from that venue, that all women's venue. But I think that was what traumatized me the most, and during my time of being the national captain. I mean, there are so many other times.
Yes, ma'am.
Because no one can really understand that post unless you are in it. There are a lot of people that say, I could do it better. I could do it better. No, maybe you can. Maybe you can't. But Allah knows who to put in that post.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And it's not something that it's just not something that no one can prepare you for. Not even the sister Naima Muhammad. She's just, I just love her.
Yes, ma'am.
And she does a fabulous, marvelous job with the sisters. And she will tell you herself, there's nothing that can prepare you. There's no handbook. You just do the best that you can, and you pray that the sister that comes behind you, can take that race forward and do it better than you. I said all that. I was kind of long-winded.
No, please. I enjoyed the story. You took us through everything from Atlanta. I was right there with you. I felt like I was in 1994.
Oh yeah, you were right. Yeah. Your mother was there. She was doing the security. No, she was actually, I believe she was the security on the stage. I believe. I'd have to I haven't even looked at the video. I have to go back and look at it.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Latasha says, all praises to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Sister Miriam, my sister Mimi says, thank you for your example, your
Is that your
spirit.
sister?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I
And
love your sister.
always being love and showing love and patience. Okay, yes, ma'am. Now, my next question is, you talked about what is your greatest joy as an when you were the national captain? What was your greatest joy?
Well, I would have to put an S at the end of it,
Yes, ma'am.
joys, because there was so much joy. Being able to travel to Africa, to Ghana. We had Savior's Day in Ghana.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a joy. Just to be able to set foot, on the continent of Africa, just to be able to bring 2,000 people to the continent of Africa. To Ghana. I don't even think they've had any group as large as that group was to come over to the continent of Africa. We brought over 2,000 believers to Africa.
Yes, ma'am.
The greatest joy was to be able to go into the slave castles, and you can't really, you don't even know what that's like until you experience it. It was a joy, but it was also a horror. It was just being able to be with the man of God, on a daily basis, just being able to learn from him, just being able to sit with him, to observe him, to study him. What else did we have? We had the Million Man March. We did so many things because we were building. We got the Salam. We built, we had the Salam open in 1995.
Yes, ma'am.
So your father was a big part, in that, as well as others. Yes, so countless others.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, I want to read to you my sister.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How is what's your brother's name? Shadi.
Yes, ma'am. He's doing great. He's actually with his daughter, headed back to see my mom.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So he's headed with his daughter to come see my mom. So he's excited.
Okay. Well, you give him the greetings. I just remember an incident. I'm not going to say it over the. I'm not going to say it over the airways, but he knows. Your mother knows. She knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
But I just wanted to ask how he was.
Yes, ma'am. Well, my sister Mimi says sometimes, this is her talking to you, sometimes adults, especially who are busy with the work and labor, don't take the time to even acknowledge and speak to young children. But there are many occasions you made her feel special and seen. She remembered you took her and Amir Rahman to go see The Lion King. Okay, boom. Thank you, Mimi.
You said, what did she say about Amir Rahman?
That you took Mimi and Amir to see The Lion King.
Amir Rahman, I did? Oh, praise is due to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Rhonda said you fell in to take orders and it was a magical time. Okay.
I want to say this, Josh.
Yes, ma'am.
I love the young people, and that's what I love about you. That's what I love about Mimi. They're still in the teachings. They're still in the faith. I'm very good friends with Amir Rahman's mother, Sister Jean. Yes, matter of fact, I think I saw Amir's children a few months back. But I'm just happy to see that all of you all still are together. And I'm just very proud of you.
Praise be to Allah. It means a lot to us that you're proud of us. What advice would you give to a new sister who's joining the ranks right now?
I would give her the same advice that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us at the final call. You are to look at Allah and his messenger and the minister. He said to us, all of us will disappoint you. All of us. He said, your brother and sister will disappoint you. He said, he said himself, I will disappoint you. Now, the minister has never disappointed me. But I would say to anyone, a new sister and a new brother, don't look at anyone as a God beside Allah.
Yes, ma'am.
You start looking at people like they are gods or they're to be worshipped, then you've already fallen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you've already fallen. You're about to head out the door. You keep your eye on the prize, which is Master Farad Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we're all growing, we're all striving, we're all in this big, uh, Sister Ava would put it, this big clothes washer trying to get clean, you know. And when you're cleaning clothes, as she so eloquently put it, you have an agitator in the middle.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Clothes
ma'am.
are not going to get clean if you don't have an agitator in the middle. That thing that spins around, if you don't have that agitator, then the clothes are just spinning around.
Yes, ma'am.
So all of us are going to get bruised. I know I have. I've been disappointed. You've been disappointed.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody that's on this probably has been disappointed.
Yes, ma'am.
Because no one realizes the damage that has been done to the Black man and Black woman of North America. The damage to us is almost irreparable, except that God Himself came for us.
Yes, ma'am.
If God had not come for us, then yes, I would say it was irreparable. You know, but God chose us.
Yes, ma'am.
To bring in a new world order.
Wow.
So that damage can be reversed, but it's going to take time. It's going to take, beyond myself, maybe beyond you, maybe beyond any children you might have. It may take hundreds of years.
Yes, ma'am.
To undo the damage that was done to our people in the Middle Passage during slavery, and that continues to be done.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would just say to a new brother and sister, just study. Stop. Don't look at any of us like we're all of that. We are to be respected,
Yes,
but not worshipped.
Yes, ma'am.
Not worshipped. And you fear none but Allah.
Wow.
Now, if I may say this, one of the things that I think the minister liked the most about me is my ability to be able to speak truth. He would ask me something and I would tell him the truth. Would he like it all the time? Not really. But he taught me to speak the truth, regardless of whom or what. You have to be able to speak the truth. And even to him, if he asked me something, I'm gonna give him my mind. God, Allah gave me a mind. And if he asks you something, be able to articulate it. So many people, and this is normal.
Yes, ma'am.
When they get in front of the minister, they become, their minds freeze, their brains freezes. They don't know what to say.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to get past the brain freeze, and I am able to speak and have a conversation with the minister and give him some of my mind. As a matter of fact, I did share with him about the Spanish webinar. So I'm going to ask him to. Well, I'm going to ask him to join. I don't know if he's going to be on there. He'll have to tell me, but I would love for him to be on there and love for his family so that they can, join the process in learning Espanol.
Yes,
so, but that's the thing that he liked, I think, most about me, or likes, and my ability to make him laugh. I like to joke too.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, excellent. My sister Mimi says, our mother is watching. She's like,
Sister Sharifa.
She says she knows what incident you're speaking of.
I know she knows what incident I'm speaking with Rashad.
Yes,
in the gym, Muhammad University.
Okay, yes, ma'am. My Walaikum Salam, brother Dawood Talib Muhammad. Yes, ma'am. Sister Captain.
Is that brother Dawood from West Palm Beach?
I don't know. It just
okay.
And what has allowed you to keep your faith from 1986 till now? All of the trials, all the tribulations, all of the changes, everything. What has allowed you to keep your faith all these years?
When I wrote my letter, I wrote it to God.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I wrote it to God. I committed myself when I wrote my letter. Have there been times when I wanted to leave? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I've wanted to run because, sometimes we do damage to ourselves and to others. And when I feel like that, I do take some time. I might take some months off. I don't know. Sometimes I'm going through something and I need time.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I'm always there. I'm always going to be there. Um, I think 2020 is going to be a good year for me.
Praise.
Um, 2019 was good, but I think 20 is going to be even a better year because, I'm just going to soar with the help of Allah.
Allah Akbar.
And I'm going to do some things in real estate, some things in
Good.
Spanish, some things
Good.
in
Good.
mosque, and, just be all over the city of Chicago.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. And Brother Daoud said yes from West Palm Beach.
Oh, that's my godson.
Okay. Okay. Yes, from Praise be to Allah. Speaking of, you said you want respect, and you should be respected, and people who laid the foundation should be respected. How can we, people who stand on your shoulders, do a better job of honoring you and others who have helped establish Islam in North America?
The best way to honor any of us is to do the work.
Mm, mm.
If you do the work, then you will honor those that came before you.
Yes, ma'am.
There is, I don't know if I know you saw 40 Mile, the
Yes,
rebuild.
ma'am. Of course, yes,
And
ma'am.
I was watching it the other night with a sister, and she said, our babies should watch 40 Miles. This is our history.
Mm, mm.
Our history has to be taught. When we go into in the public school, you're going to know about George Washington, right? George Washington been there for 300 years,
Yes, ma'am.
but
Yes,
you're going to know who that first president is. You're going to
yes,
know who the presidents are. They're all dead.
Yes, ma'am.
But they laid the foundation for this country to be where it is.
Wow.
200 years from now, somebody's going to be talking about President Trump. He'll be dead.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we have to do the same thing. We have to let the believers know, starting from 1930. And that's going to take some research, because I stand on somebody
Yes, ma'am.
shoulders, from the time when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was amongst us. So the babies have to know. That has to be a history class.
Yes, ma'am.
Not a history of our nation, going from 1930. Who was captain? That's a research team.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are the lieutenants who helped to do what? And even though I was the student national captain, there were a lot of people. I wasn't a one person show. I had your mother.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
had Sister Aisha. I had all of the lieutenants, Sister Abiola, Sister Echo, all of them that I can't even name. Sister Ruby, you remember Sister Ruby and Iris?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Janice, and I had over 40 lieutenants. So it wasn't just a one person show. I could not have done anything without any of those sisters, that were with me. I traveled with your mother. We would go into different cities. She was right there as the National Vanguard captain.
Yes, ma'am.
And she not only was just somebody that was on my staff. She is my friend.
Yes,
She was my friend. I was at your house. I remember your grandmother, her mother. I just remember having a good time. So I would say to the young people can't honor us if they don't know us, or don't know what we've been through. How are you going to honor something you don't know?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So it has to be taught. There's Sister Charlene. There's Sister Betsy Jean. There's Sister Aisha. There's Sister Sharifa. There's Sister such and such. There's Sister Aaliyah. There's Sister Patricia. These are captains that came and lieutenants before me.
Yes,
but they don't know nothing about them because we don't talk about it. So you got to talk about it. You got to make young people proud of their nation.
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is our nation.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Ava is talking about separation, and we're not going to be who we are if we don't separate.
Yes, ma'am.
That's just a fact. It's not that I'm a hater of white people,
yes, ma'am.
but you cannot be in this. This system is just not conducive to us.
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of our growth and development. So there's nothing wrong with separation. The United States separated from England.
Yes,
they
ma'am.
have a wonderful relationship today.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, we just have to teach our babies, who is who. It would be a shame that anyone, the believers coming up in Atlanta, don't know who Sister Sharifa is,
Yes, ma'am.
other than being the wife of Brother Sharif. And I know she doesn't, she is that. There's more to her than that.
Yes,
There's
ma'am.
a history behind her.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
they teach that in the orientation class? Or do I need to come down there and teach it
I think
myself?
so.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I want to say that Sister Sean from Chicago says, thank you for your sacrifice as our captain. May Allah bless you with much success in 2020. Amy says, ma'am. Sister Bronda says, she's so proud and honored to have served under you. You pushed her and
I was
fought.
kind of hard on Sister Bronda.
You said you worked hard on her? Yes, ma'am. She said you fought hard to see the best in her, and you did a great job swelling the ranks.
Praise be to Allah.
Sister Brother Larry Rivera says, teach sister. Sister Sean said, food for thought. Our own history class, Muhammad University. Brother Larry says, that's right. Brother Michael Muhammad says, please don't forget, leave Sister Wanda out of Chicago. Of course, can't leave Sister Wanda out.
Please don't leave who?
Sister Wanda.
Oh no, Sister Wanda was, oh no, oh, absolutely. Brother Michael, absolutely. Sister Wanda was on my staff.
Yes, ma'am.
And she helped me. Oh, thank you, Brother Michael. That's one of the ones you cannot leave out.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Wanda, Sister Lawita, even though she is a sewing instructor, she was one of my lieutenants. Praise Sister Lawita been around for a long time.
Excellent.
So all of them, yes, sir. I would thank you, Brother Michael.
Absolutely. Come on, teach, Brother William Familia. Yes, ma'am. I'll praise to Allah.
Oh, Sister Pamelia. Okay.
And Brother Rivera, the MGT have made a major sacrifice. Thank you. Okay, yes, ma'am. And thank you all for watching. My last question is, what would you like your legacy to be, Sister Captain?
I would like my legacy to be known just one of kindness. Kindness to, to the young people, who are finding their way. Kindness to those that may not have a title, may not be recognized anywhere, but just being kind to someone. You never know where a person is and what they're going through. Yes, you just never know. When you see people on Facebook and they may post certain things, you just don't know what they're going through. And they're actually reaching out, they want someone to give them a kind word.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's all I can do is give you. When you asked me to come on here, I didn't have any hesitation. Whatever you want, son.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever you want. If it was yesterday, that's fine. So I want my legacy to be one of kindness, and to a legacy that I love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Did the best that I could to my ability, and I continue to love him. I love this nation. I want to see it free. I want us to be the vanguard. The only way that we're going to be the vanguard is if now the youth step up. And I'm speaking directly to the youth. It's your time.
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot expect me to go back and do what I did 30 years ago. I don't have that kind of energy. Yes, but the young people do. And we are just to counsel you. You have to come to us for counsel. But you all have the energy to go out and do, and whatever you see in your mind, you can accomplish.
Yes, ma'am.
You've got these children books, Josh. You could do so much, so much. You can have your own publishing house.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If you can just see it.
Excellent. And I wanted to make sure that I thank you on behalf of myself and my family and everyone who showed us that we stand on. I appreciate. I learned so much about you today in this interview, because I didn't know.
Praise be to Allah. I thought you knew everything about me.
I didn't know. I just knew you spoke Spanish and was nice to me. You know what I'm saying? That's all I do. You let me run around your office. You know what I'm saying? That's all I do. But I thank you, and we love you.
Love you too.
And thank you for your sacrifice. And we will continue to share the history, inshallah. So when people see you, they can tilt their head and make sure they salute, so they understand what you've done to help establish our nation.
Thank you, Brother Joshua. And please extend the greetings to your family and tell them that I love them.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you all for watching.